Good afternoon, Michael, and welcome back to our Ask the Expert series from Chesterton. And thanks for joining us again.
Thank you, George. It's a pleasure to be here.
These sessions have been fantastic, so I'm really enjoying them. I wanted to actually ask a question about packings.
Yes.
And I know that we've talked a lot about other sealing mechanisms, but packing is still very common out there, especially in mining applications. And I wanted to talk a little bit about the reliability and the main issues that we're having with having reliability with packings.
With packings, yeah. It's a good point. Yeah, the big problem that we see with packing, specifically in slurries, is to do with the solids and how they impregnate into the underside of the packing. And that's what really causes problems around the packing. As soon as you get those solids embedded into the packing, then you get problems with scoring of the shaft, etc. The packing starts to dry out really quickly. You can't get the lubrication through where it needs to be. And that ends up with glazing, and then basically you've got to repack the pump and potentially change out the shaft sleeve as well.
Okay, all right. So
one of the things we can think about doing is trying to keep those solids away from the stuffing box or away from the packing itself. And SpiralTrac is a very good way of doing that. You may have heard about it. It's one of those devices. What we generally do is we take away the first two rings of packing and the lantern ring, and we replace it with a SpiralTrac mechanism like this. And what it does is it uses the centrifugal forces of the turning shaft to expel the solids away from the shaft and onto a groove, and the groove then pushes the solids back into the seal chamber or into the stuffing box, which can then be taken out by the pump to the discharge.
So you're still using the same space as you would have with the 5 rings of packing?
That's correct. You're replacing the first 2 and the lantern ring. The last 3 rings are still the packing.
The sealing rings.
So the idea is that you utilise the same flush. So as you can see on this device, we have this area acts as the lantern ring, where the liquid from the flush would come inside here. But ideally what we're looking for doing is keeping that flush liquid to lubricate the last 3 rings. So all the last 3 rings of packing are doing is sealing against flush water.
Okay.
And then the expelling version of the SpiralTrac allows the solids to be removed out of the stuffing box.
Okay, and there's a couple of issues I know that quite often in mining and other areas, flush is a little bit unreliable at times.
That's true.
How would the SpiralTrac and the packing combination work to actually counter some of those issues?
So with the lack of flush, the issue with the SpiralTrac is that it can still work based on that centrifugal forces, as long as the solids are only around about 3% of the liquid level. Any higher than that, then you really do need a flush.
Okay, so this is ideal for those applications with very limited slurry content.
Yeah, correct. That's right. With you have no flush. Otherwise, having flush in there works beautifully.
Okay.
Yeah, but sometimes, as you said, if you can't get away from flush, like you can't introduce one, and of course there's way too much solids in there. Maybe you can use an expeller ring, or expeller.
I was just going to ask if back vanes or expeller rings, do they actually create more of an issue for this, or do they work in combination with it?
Yeah. So what we end up doing is that with expeller vanes on the back of the impeller, it will not only take the solids away from the stuffing box area, but it also takes the liquid away. And that is the lubrication key that's required for packing to last long.
Yes, because the expellers are there to actually drop the pressure so that you don't have to use a high pressure flush.
That's correct. So that's then becomes another problem. Like, how do we keep the lubrication to the packing when the expeller is pulling that liquid away? So in that case, you probably need to turn into something that it can be dry run, basically. Chesterton has packing like this one here, either 370 or 377 material, which has a lot of, lubrication built in. As you can see, it's very black. So that graphite material is used to continue to lubricate the packing while the pump is turning, and therefore allowing it to run dry.
Okay. Now, I've heard a lot about Chesterton packings having lubricant throughout every strand.
Yes.
Is that the same as this?
Correct. Yes.
So it's not just dipped at the end, it's actually every strand is actually dipped in lubricant and then further lubricated once it's all braided.
That's right. Once it's towards the end, then it gets the extra lubrication as well. So, it's ideally made for those dry running applications.
Okay.
That's correct.
Right. Thanks for talking to us about the packings. I think it's a fantastic solution for industry. and I'm sure we're going to get lots of inquiries.
Yeah, that could be. Well, don't forget the SpiralTrac if you've got a good flush.
Yeah, fantastic.
Thanks.
Cheers.